been happening in that region. While US President Donald Trump has posted on Truth Social just now on the Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs. He's called the ruling ridiculous, dumb, and very internationally divisive ruling. That's essentially what he's calling the Supreme Court's ruling that happened in the United States. He likens the tariffs to license fees and asks why can't we charge nations license fees. He also said that the next thing you know, they will rule in favor of China and others who are making an absolute fortune on birthright citizenship. In fact, he ended the post by stating that, but this Supreme Court will find a way to come to the wrong conclusion, one that again will make China and various other nations happy and rich. Let our Supreme Court keep making decisions that are so bad and deleterious to our future and of our nation. I have a job to do, that is to make America great again. The US President once again criticizing the US Supreme Court after that very crucial tariff hearing that came about. In fact, the decision came about from the top court in a 6-3 verdict. The top court claimed that President Trump's tariffs under the IEEPA were illegal, and that has sort of created ruckus all across the globe. There's a lot of confusion, uncertainty as well all across the globe in terms of whether the trade deals that have already been done, whether they hold the legal test or not, whether they are legally valid or not. Meanwhile, India has also postponed a planned trade visit to Washington as US tariff policy that remains in flux. In fact, negotiators were due to hold talks this week, but officials say that the meeting will now be rescheduled. India, which was expecting its reciprocal tariff to be cut from 25% to 18%, is reassessing the impact. In fact, Chief Negotiator Darpan Jain is expected to now travel only once both sides have reviewed the new framework. Let me now go across to my colleague Prakash Priyadarshi, who's filed a report earlier in the day today on the matter, in fact, on the postponement of the visit that was to start today.
Well, that's an important development coming in as the US visit of a team led by chief negotiator has been postponed due to the recent developments in the United States, a very significant development coming in. In fact, government sources tell us that the both sides will first evaluate the recent developments and their implication and then move further. Sources suggest that the meeting will be rescheduled on a mutually convenient date. As you are aware that the team led by chief negotiator was scheduled to depart for the US on February 23, as both sides had agreed to initiate discussions on legal framework of the India-US trade deal after issuing joint statement. Now, new developments unfolding after the US Supreme Court struck down Trump tariffs, and therefore this meeting has been postponed. However, President Trump has indicated that tariffs may be increased to 15% above the base tariff. However, the executive order has not been issued yet, and therefore, questions are brewing following recent developments. Will the India-US trade deal be further delayed, as Indian government was expecting that the deal to be operational by April this year? Also, will fresh negotiations take place after the Supreme Court order? This is important to note that the US administration has not issued the formal notification with regard to implementing 18% tariffs in the context of India-US trade deal. Therefore, this is very important to see whether the US administration will move further and issue formal notification. So these are key questions remain unanswered. Let's see how it pans out.
Absolutely. So a lot of uncertainty amidst the tariff flip-flop. But meanwhile, news comes